Just real quick, I'm sorry, Don Wilbright, moderator for Veterans in Politics. The panel's going to ask questions, and I'm going to ask you please to keep it down to a minute because we have so many up there, and I do appreciate that. Oh, and please give your name before and after because we do have an audience on the radio that can't see you. Thank you.
We only have 2 hours right now, right? For an answer.
My name is Maria Dunnigan. I'm going to ask 2 questions. One's just yes and no, so just answer it really quick. And I'm never going to see this microphone again after I turn it over. So, the first question is, I hear a lot about cutting spend and or cutting taxes, increasing spend, or cutting spend, or whatever you think. My question to you on that is, how are you going to do it here and now? Because a lot of people are hurting now. We hear about 2011, end of 2011. We hear, we're going to make this better. We're going to make this better. There are a lot of people that are hurting right now. What do you have right now that is in your mind, that anything that you can help to improve the people's positions at this time? Second question is a yes and no. I asked this earlier, it was the wrong person, but a lot of people are losing their jobs, we know. A lot of people are taking pay cuts. A lot of people are working double as hard in order to keep their jobs that they have or to maintain what they've lost. Would you take a pay cut?
I have a pledge here about the pay cut. I'm going to donate $50,000 to my salary. I said this 8 years ago when I first started running for an office. Congress is overpaid, and until they can balance the budget, they don't deserve a raise. So to answer your question is, I absolutely would take a pay cut. I know, I walk these neighborhoods, I see how hurt people are out there. I see so many homeless veterans. I'm working on so many projects with homeless veterans now. It makes me sick. The people who have done the most for this country get the least. So to answer your question, yes. And the second question would be, how can I help people right now? If you read my little pamphlet that I set out there, I know we don't have time, but if you read the pamphlet, I can show you how we can put America back to work. It's simple. We could all sit over dinner and we could solve America's problems. The problem is the people that we have up in office today, they don't get it. They sign bills that they can't even read. I made a pledge. I'm not going to sign any bills until I read it. I may have to not vote on a lot of bills, but you know what? That's the only way to get them back in line.
Ed Klaproth. To answer your one question, for pay cut for myself, absolutely. Cut my pay in half. I would be asking too for federal employees, except for the active military, that all federal employees also take a pay cut. Everybody else is cutting back. We all have to sacrifice. It used to be when you went to the federal government service, you went with the idea you would have lower pay than the private sector, but better benefits. Now, people in the public sector are getting paid way more than the private sector. It was never meant to be. As far as public servants go, I mean, look at George Washington. He took pay. He refused his pay. Well, we have to get that spirit back. And as a citizen politician, that's what I look at. As far as putting people back to work, well, that's really complicated. If you go to my website, edklaproth.org, there's ways I have of getting back manufacturing jobs back to America, getting us cheap energy and being energy independent, cutting taxes, cutting federal spending. The first year in office, I would work to reduce the budget by 50%. We have to cut the spending, and then we can cut the taxes, put money in people's pockets. They can start investing, spending, getting jobs back.
Yes, Chuck Flume. In answer to your first question, again, I could give you a long answer. We could be here all day, and these people aren't going to like it if I do that. But if you go to my website, chuckflumeforcongress.com, I talk about jobs and the economy. It's all in there, and it has to do with total energy independence by the end of the decade. As far as the pay cut, absolutely. In fact, if you look in my website, you will see Chuck Flume is tough on Washington. Not only do I think we need to cut pay, we need to cut immediately by at least 50% the ridiculous retirement plan that legislators have for themselves. They go to Washington for 2 terms, they go back home, and they get $170,000 a year the rest of their life. This is insane. Why don't they pay into Social Security? We've got a system that's going broke like every other government program. They've exempted themselves from Social Security. They should pay into that system, and I propose they do it immediately. They also need to live by the laws that they pass. They ram this health care bill down our throats, but they're not part of it. Additionally, we need term limits to get rid of these people. There's only one surefire way to get rid of corrupt career politicians, and that's with term limits. If we would have had those in the last cycle, we wouldn't have had Nancy Pelosi, and we wouldn't have had Harry Reid doing what they did to us. Thank you.
Yes, David Cunningham, to answer your question about the pay cut, yes, I would take the pay cut. Also, to put Las Vegans back to work, the first thing I would do is see what we can do about cutting taxes, especially on businesses. As a small business owner, it seems like every now and then I'm hit with another fee. They call it a fee, but it's actually a tax. If we can cut these fees, cut these taxes, then we may start seeing some growth. We're going to have to look at labor with the city. We're going to have to look at labor with the unions also to help with this, because some of the incomes are out of proportion with the private sector, and that's just not, it creates an uneven balance for any economy. But that's what I would do to put people back in Las Vegas to work. Let's cut taxes first, and then let's go through systematically, see what other things we're wasting money on and cut those. Nobody likes the cuts, but they have to happen. I had to do it in my business. I had to do it in my own personal life. And I think we can do it here.
Joseph Tatner. The problem is government cannot create a single job. And by the way, would I cut my pay? Yes. 170,000 plus perks, plus benefits, plus everything. That's way more than I'll ever need. I get along with much less. I'm the kind of guy that, you know, eats at McDonald's and shops at the 99-cent only store, so I can live on a lot less. But again, the federal government cannot create a single job except a bureaucracy job, and we do not need more bureaucracy. The problem is not that the government is not creating jobs. The problem is that the government is killing jobs. There is no environment right now for incentive for people to have businesses. That's the problem, and that is what we have got to reverse. We have a clear role model under Jimmy Carter on how to destroy the economy. That same role model worked very successfully in California, and we can see the results in that economy. We need to follow the role of Ronald Reagan and of John F. Kennedy, which is a clear role model on how to restore the economy and bring jobs, real jobs, back.
To answer the question on a pay cut, I put on my website when I first started running back in August that I would return half of my salary to the local community here in Las Vegas until our government stopped operating at a yearly deficit. I only think that's right. In addition to that, I have made a lot of personal sacrifices. I am a successful business owner. I still have the ability to generate income, and I've put a lot of my personal money into this. So I didn't go to run for office to collect a government paycheck. I did so because, as I said, I believe if we don't get our spending under control and back to our founding principles, everything I work for is going to be gone. So it starts with making tough decisions, and we need to cut spending now. In the 2008 debate, President Obama accused John McCain of wanting to use a hatchet where we needed a scalpel. We do not need a scalpel. We need a hatchet. We need to make tough decisions. Nobody likes it, but all of the American people and the people in the private sectors and at homes have lost their jobs, and they've had spending cut while our government has continued to grow. And while the president is lecturing us on tightening our belts at home, the government, the federal government, we need to cut the entitlements. We need to cut back spending, and we need to do it now. The more I talk to people and the more I talk to different groups about the state of our economy, the more I believe that we are in a dire straits, and if we don't start making these tough decisions now, there's going to be even tougher decisions down the road.
Please state your name for
Craig
the
Lake, I'm sorry.